Hello, everyone, and welcome to another all-new Salt and Light Hour. I'm Deacon Pedro.
Well, the how is developing this disposition of curiosity. And so essentially, you're trying to put yourself into a mental state in which you don't have all the answers.
That's Dr. Greg Bottaro, a well-known Catholic psychologist who is founder of the CatholicPsych Institute. He has just written a book called The Power of Listening Well, which is more about relationship than it is about communication. Dr. Bottaro will be joining us very soon to tell us more. And after that, Danny Torchia is back with his media ministry series. He's going to speak to us about the poor. I'm not quite sure what the connection is with media, but he's going to tell us in about 20 minutes. Media Ministry Minutes with Danny Torchia. And then
I have learned a couple things in becoming a mom and in pursuing dreams and having babies at the same time. Number one is go ahead and ask for help.
that's Hannah Schaefer, our featured artist of the week. Hannah has been on this program many times to talk about her music, but in the last couple years, she's been busy with marriage and family, and that is the theme of her latest project, an EP called Motherhood. And so we're going to be speaking with Hannah Schaefer about that in our second half hour. So be sure to stick around. And of course, we're going to be listening to some music from that album. Remember to download the Salt and Light Plus app. That's the best place to listen to the show and not miss one single episode. And if you want to learn all about our show and our guests, go to our website, slmedia.org/SLhour. So let's start with a song. Here's Hannah Schaefer with In Bloom from her new EP, Motherhood.
Hiding cherry blossoms, spring and summertime. Rosy flower petals, drops of sunshine. Wonderful reminders of when you arrived. Pink stars on a tree line, coloring my life. My favorite season. It takes me back. Feel it near the 1st of June. Unfurling in my mind, ephemeral moonlight, I'm basking in its shine. Loving you is timeless, unbreakable bond, overflowing fountain, the wellspring of the heart. My favorite season.
Listening to Hannah Schaefer with In Bloom from her new EP, Motherhood. And we're going to be speaking with Hannah Schaefer at the end of the program, so I hope that you can stick around for that. We live in a world that sometimes rewards the loudest voice, the sharpest argument. And yet, some of the most powerful moments I've experienced as a deacon, as a broadcaster, as a father or husband, have happened in silence. In the moment when I stopped talking and actually listened. Dr. Gregory Bottaro has written a book that gets at something I think we all need to hear. That real influence, real connection, real evangelization begins not with what we say, but with how we listen. The book is called The Power of Listening Well. And to tell us more, I'm now joined by Dr. Gregory Bottaro. Dr. Greg, welcome to the Salt and Light Hour. It's so good to meet you.
Hey, thanks. Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
So I mean, I'm a communicator, so I love anything that has to do with communicating and, of course, with listening. Is it fair to say that I think the premise of your book is that listening well is actually more important than speaking well? And I think that might be surprising for some people, but can you explain what you mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when we have conflict or ruptures in relationship, when there's sort of a break of some sort, then often our inclinations are to try to explain ourselves or make sure the other person really understands what we mean, or maybe we want to be more forceful about a point, or sometimes we just want to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have done that. There's a lot of expression happening from one person to the other.
Right.
And the thing that actually builds up better relationship is when there's a sense of being listened to. So on the part of the recipient, not being explained to better, but being listened to. And that means that the skill is actually listening. It's how to listen that forges deeper connection and deeper communication and deeper communion.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, one of the first things I learned about communication, the art of communication or the art of relationship, is actually that we need to be focusing more on the other person and not so much on what we're thinking and what we need to say.
Yes, exactly. And that is an important part of it. There's a two-way street, and there is a place for expressing one's own inner experience outwardly, but it has to be within that context of two dynamics that are happening back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. You also bring up the idea of curiosity, but you go as far as calling it holy curiosity. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so a lot of times people will get the concept initially and they say, "Okay, I get it. Listening is important," and then they think they're listening, but there's a kind of thing that's happening where it's a kind of judgment instead of an open listening. And so I'm not talking about a moral judgment, but I'm talking about a kind of cognitive judging that's happening.
Like jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, trying to figure out what the other person means, jumping to conclusions.
Right.
Maybe correcting what sounds like an improper thing to say, or maybe they got the history wrong. That's not what happened. That's not what I said. Those kinds of patterns, which are the opposite of curiosity. So I go towards curiosity because everybody has some sense of what it means to be curious. And so if you think about being curious as a way of listening, it helps go from that first step of saying, okay, I get the concept, but how do I do it? Well, the how is developing this disposition of curiosity. And so essentially you're trying to put yourself into a mental state in which you don't have all the answers. And like one who is curious, you are open to trying to find out what's really going on. And so we have this sense of exploration, of sort of openness, that if we have that internal disposition and we bring that into communication and a conversation with somebody, as somebody starts telling you something, instead of jumping to the conclusion of like, oh, I know what they're going to say, or what they're saying is not right. Instead, it's like, oh, let me dig a little deeper. Let me find out more. Okay, they said they're unhappy, but maybe I can explore better why. And so there's, a lot of those negative emotions will trigger us getting defensive, but instead we can be open and curious, and that'll help us listen to the other person at that point in the conversation.
Yeah. And again, I would say that sounds easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because some people are not naturally curious, or I guess we all start off naturally curious and then we grow out of it. So where would you say that like, how do I put myself in that disposition? Like, where does that holy curiosity come from, other than me just saying I'm going to really try to be curious when I talk to this person?
Yeah. I mean, I think you, because we all start off curious, we all have the capacity. It's not that we don't know how to be curious. It's that we've probably learned in life many reasons to stop being curious. And the point of my book is to try to paint the picture, or even make an argument for why curiosity will actually help build stronger relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, initially this was written for parents who, in a sense, really owe a primary disposition of curiosity. Like, they're teaching their kids how to actually be like this to the world.
Right.
And so, but that's very hard when your kids start doing things you don't agree with. And
Right.
so curiosity is the last thing that you're holding on to when you're, trying to correct behavior, or, especially as kids get older, if they leave the faith, or if they're, engaging in activities and behaviors and lifestyles that go against the family sort of, rules, or the faith or whatever. Is the last thing a parent wants to do is be curious. So I was, started off in this book really painting this picture, saying like, listen, if we share, if I know your goal is to have your kid back, I just want you to understand that the way you're going about it is sabotaging your goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're aligned, I want to help you get your kid back. So here's the game plan. Curiosity is going to be the way to do it.
Right.
And listening well is going to be the path to deepening and healing and repairing relationships.
Right.
So once you have buy-in and you have a reason to try it, it's like, yeah, I can be curious. I know how to be curious. I just have to have a reason to want to be curious, instead of wanting to correct the sinner and change the lifestyle or whatever, and create boundaries and all these things that we say, which are actually doing the opposite of what we want them to do.
Yeah, I think that's such a good example, the parenting example, because that's probably the hardest thing. The other example that I think is especially in this polarized kind of world that we live in, having conversations with people that really are like, have these crazy, quote unquote, I'm going to say crazy ideas, because they're different than the ones that I might have, and of course my ideas are all the proper ones, right? So what is kind of maybe one big mistake that Catholics tend to make when they're trying to, let's say maybe have a pro-life conversation, if something as difficult as euthanasia or abortion,
right? Yeah, it's a great question, and it kind of goes back to your last question about why is this called holy curiosity. And the fact is that this is the example that Jesus gave us in Scripture, and we see him being curious over and over again when he encounters people whom he wants to convert. So it's like he's giving us the example of what to do. When he met the Samaritan woman at the well, when he met the woman caught in adultery, when he meets people on the road, it's like, what's going on? He's asking, like, where are you going? Yeah. It's like, well, tell me about what's going on. What's going on in your life? Yeah. And in all of these instances, really every instance in Scripture, this is what we can see him doing when it leads to a conversion. So that's where we have to think about, what's our goal? Why would you be having a conversation with somebody about euthanasia or abortion? What's our goal? Are we hoping to, shut people down and make them feel bad about how wrong they are, and you won the argument? Or are we trying to convert hearts? Yeah. And if we're trying to convert hearts, we should probably do it the way Jesus did it.
Yeah, and I would maybe even add that the goal is, I mean, maybe not initially to convert hearts, but the goal, if we're truly trying to be wholly curious, then the goal is to learn why that person thinks what they think, or to really learn, like, why do you believe that? What experiences have you had that have led you to think that X or Y is correct, or that this is the best situation for you at this time in your life, right? So to be truly curious and not try to convert. True. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? To be authentic about it.
Exactly. You can't feign curiosity. You have to, in the weeds, when you really are in the conversation, you have to nurture an actual disposition of real curiosity. And that's the only way it'll ever come through and open up a conversation.
And using Jesus as an example, I mean, that's as a model. When I know a lot of people will say, it's like, well, I can't be like Jesus. He's God, but there are things that we can model. And of course, I can think of the story from, the road to Emmaus. That's a classic, where Jesus is like, hey, what are you guys talking about? And then he listens to them. And I love that story. And I've from other things that you've written, and I've heard other interviews, you said, you talk about, the idea of Catholic anthropology and clinical psychology And I think that what that means is that, Catholics have a very different understanding of what the human person is that maybe non-Catholics do. How is our understanding as Catholics of, what the human person is? How does that help us be better listeners?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have a number of elements to our model that we train, and we have a certification where we have a whole 2-year course on this. So like
this is
it's
at
a
your
very
institute?
big question.
Sorry, this is at your institute?
Yeah, at the institute.
Yeah, at CatholicPsych.
Yeah, at CatholicPsych Institute. Yeah. So
Okay.
It's a huge question. One of the elements of anthropology that we rely on is our relationality. So we're made in the image of God, who's a Trinity. And that means that we're made in the image of relational, dynamics itself. And that means that the communion that we have with other people is not just a nice to have. It's not just
Right.
like social functioning is an interesting research category. It's essential to our identity and being.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way we relate to people is actually part of who we are. And if we're relating badly to people, then it is us becoming less of what we are as humans. Ultimately, we're made for, this is also part of our anthropology that we work from, is that we're made for the communion of saints. Like we're made for heaven. We're made to be completely back in union with God and for eternity, but in a communion of saints. So if this is our telos, our end, our final purpose, our end goal of our whole developmental story, that means that there are elements now along the way that are leading us towards our goal or not goal. So it's like, developmental psychology is really important, and we study all the developmental stages. And it's like, well, why do we, and even physically, developmentally, it's like you go through a teething process. What's happening? Teeth are popping out of your gums. It hurts. It's painful. But we understand the goal so that we
Right.
can have some chompers in our mouth and we can tear open food, and it's going to help us eat. So it's like, we know what bad formation of teeth looks like. We know when we need braces. We know when a tooth needs to get pulled out. We know all these things because we have the end in mind. Well, Catholic anthropology gives us the end of our whole humanity. It's to be in the communion of saints and in union with God for eternity. So the way we communicate with each other is a developmental process. It's like teeth popping out of the gums.
Yeah.
And if we don't know how to talk and listen to each other and be in deep communion, that's like teeth popping out crooked. You look at it and you go, oof, that's crooked. Why would you know that it's crooked, if you don't know what it's made for in the end?
Exactly.
So the listening process of being in communion with others is developmental. We get it, some people better than others, but we're all lacking on some level in this concupiscent human fallen state.
Yeah.
But we're all on a journey working towards becoming better versions of ourselves. What does that mean to become who we are? To be a better version of ourselves means to become more like a saint that we're called to become. And the ultimate manifestation of our perfection in heaven, that's when we're going to be in the fullness of communion, where we are giving and receiving.
Right.
Listening is that receiving dimension.
Yeah.
Expressing and speaking is the giving dimension. And that's why we can judge how's that going here.
Right.
How's that?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
If it's going well, we feel good on a very deep level, and if it's going poorly, we feel bad on a very deep level.
Yeah,
like our
it's true.
emotional disposition, our psychological health is actually a compass that God gave us to point us towards, or if we know we're pointed towards or away from what we're made for.
Yeah.
So that's where
that
the
makes sense.
psychology comes in.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I like that. If it's going well, it means that we'll have good relationships, and that's true. We are created for relationship because we're created in the image of God, who is relationship. I like that very much. Dr. Greg, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about this with us and for writing the book. I encourage our listeners to go get it so they can learn some more, and hopefully we can all become better listeners and more curious.
Amen.
Dr. Greg Bottaro is a Catholic psychologist and the author of The Power of Listening Well, published by Sophia Institute Press. You can learn about Dr. Bottaro's work at CatholicPsych.com.
This is Carlos Zamora, aka C26, and you're listening to the Salt Light Hour with Deacon Pedro.
Visit us at slmedia.org to watch all our programs and to find out how to support our ministry. slmedia.org. And now it's time for Media Ministry Minutes with Danny Torchia. Danny,
Hey,
welcome
Deacon
back.
Pedro. Thank you.
So good to
hear
see
your
you.
voice.
Yeah,
Likewise.
it's good to hear your voice, and it's good to see you.
Yeah.
Always look forward to our conversations. Last time we were talking about, if I remember correct, managing our consumer diet, like how much media we consume.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm glad you like talking about this stuff. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's sitting and pondering, like our Blessed Mother, pondering, but the world of media and in our own homes. So yeah, we were talking about extremes,
Mhm.
how it's too easy, right, to fall into a camp or a worldview and stay within your choir. It's good. It's so important
Right.
to make sure you balance what you're consuming so that you have a good dose of what the whole world out there, including your neighbors or your fellow parishioners, might be consuming in their own media channels and habits. So again, the goal is to have a good diet of media consumption to help
Right.
prepare our children, to be warriors for Christ in the digital continent as well as the streets.
Exactly. And now, then today, you said that you wanted to speak about the poor. So I'm struggling to find the connection.
Yeah, because when you work like I do in media, and you do, and many others do,
Mhm.
for some reason, we're connected to media and communications and fundraising and donor relations and all that stuff.
Mhm.
You sometimes get caught up into, well, what's the latest in content creators or YouTube or podcasts?
Okay.
And now with AI, right? And even in the world of our own banking or buying a car, you realize that we're in a very digital and hyper technologically advanced world. And sometimes we have to say, let me stop for a bit and think about the people who are on the outside, not even the fringes, who are not part of this wave
I
that
see what
many
you
of us
mean.
are in, right?
I
Mass
see what you
culture.
mean. Yeah.
And I think it's where I live, maybe you, Deacon, we have a lot of homeless people that come to the intersections with
Yeah.
that they're selling roses, or they're going to do squeegee your windshield, or
Yeah.
they're knocking at, for a handout. We have to stop and think about, well, what about them in terms of, I'm talking here about my children. Are my children aware of what their situation is like?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that so that our kids are not too distanced from the real poor, because we're Catholics and we have a preferential option for the poor, and the poor will always be with us.
Uh-huh.
And Jesus ministered to people, including
Absolutely.
the poor, especially the poor.
Yeah. I kind of hear you saying two different things, and obviously they're connected. But so there's the one, as parents, that we want our children to not be completely disconnected from this reality that exists all around us, and in some places a lot closer physically than others.
Right.
But I'm intrigued by the whole idea about this digital currency or this
The
digital
culture.
world, the digital culture that some people
Yeah.
and maybe you can. This is what the first thing that jumped to my mind was this idea of like two-factor authorization. I hate it. I get it, but I hate it because it means that I have to have a phone,
Right.
and I have to have my phone with me all the time. That I can't, like, every
Right.
time I log into a website, then it's like two-factor authorization. Then I have to like get up, go upstairs, get my phone, because I want to have my phone with me all the time.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, what if people don't have a phone?
Yeah.
And maybe we
Yeah.
assume that everybody has a phone, but like you're saying, there must be people who
Right.
don't have phones.
Yeah, so let's look at the practical on the ground. And we're just parents trying to muddle through somehow and figure it out. But like we definitely take. I like right now. I'm having an issue with our bank because our bank no longer gives out $5 denominations or bills. So I used to have $5.
Oh, to
$5
give
bills.
to
Yeah.
give.
Yeah, I made a commitment in my budget to
Yeah.
have cash.
Yeah.
To top off what we're doing with the church, or to top off what we're doing to charities that we like Salt and Light and others, we had cash and budgeted it to give, and with a comment or two. We're not just giving out cash.
Yeah, that's
we're
right. That's
sitting
your
and talking
yeah.
to a person who's out on the street. We're talking to them, but we had, so now without the ability
Interesting.
We go into the bank together and we get cash. So I think Catholics are going to have to stand up and do things differently.
Interesting.
And even if you go into a retailer that doesn't accept cash, like I've said, you know what, I'm going to take my business elsewhere with all due respect. You know, I'm doing this. I would like for people to have access to your store. It was, in this case, it was a chocolatier. They were selling chocolates. And I said, no, you know what, I'm not going to pay by card. I just want you to know, tell your management, I prefer buying with cash. And that's not because I want to be a problem for people. It's just I think we need to remember that there are a lot of poor people who don't have access to a home address or a credit card. And
right, exactly.
We need to make sacrifices on their behalf.
That's interesting. So you're not doing it for yourself because you obviously have a credit card, but you're saying you're making a point so that the management knows that the store is not accessible to everyone if they have policies like no cash.
And that's such a strong word: inclusivity, accessibility. Well, it's so hard if you're a certain demographic or socioeconomic class.
Yeah, it's true, and we are so disconnected from that. It's interesting, and the first image that came to mind was that at church we still pass the basket.
Yes.
But there are some churches, and I don't know where you are, that now they have the little tap. You can actually just tap your debit card, and that's how you give the donation. But I wonder if Catholic churches will ever give up passing the basket.
Well, we have to, and the reason I mention it is because we're teaching our kids media awareness, but we need to stop sometimes and say it's not all about media. It's about visiting we've talked about visiting the elderly people in our families, in our case the abuelos, the grandparents, but the poor is so important. And so my wife and I try to talk about our experiences with the poor. Now our children are getting old enough that they can stop on their own. They're young teenagers. They don't have to be shielded or protected from a homeless person. They can go out. We always told our kids, say hi to everybody, smile to everybody.
Of course.
Strangers, especially strangers. We said don't listen, don't follow them into a vehicle, and don't go further. But say hello, smile, especially to strangers. Same thing with the homeless, we or those who need funding. We're so grateful for them outside of our church. We're so grateful for them at the stops. And as long as you do things prudently, in other words, not risking your own safety or this, because in the car, sometimes there's a safety hazard.
Yeah, of course.
Talking with a homeless person because you're under a bridge or you're in traffic. You don't want to do something like that. But the kids that we're raising as Catholics, they need to be media savvy, but they need to be anchored on. Why are they're doing media? We're learning about the media and we're evangelizing through the media in order to help the poor, in order to walk with the poor.
Mm-hmm.
We can't forget that. And we can't kind of forget all that if we're just consuming, what's the latest in AI evangelization? Or what's the latest from Bishop Robert Barron and this YouTube award-winning
exactly. What's the latest, Bible in a Year podcast that everybody's listening to? But clearly there are some people who in some ways, and maybe this is a shameless plug for Salt and Light Television, we're very proud that we are still available on cable TV, even though it would be so much easier to just be available online and streaming. Because we are very aware that there are people who don't have internet, who don't have a computer, or who don't really know how to navigate that. But they need to watch Mass on TV. They need to watch because they can't go to Mass. They have to watch Mass on TV. So they watch it on cable TV because they know how to turn the TV on. They don't know. They don't have an iPad. Right. They don't know how to go to the website to watch, dailymass.com.
Yeah.
So that is an awareness, I think, if anything, for media creators to recognize that we cannot be exclusive in this ministry when we're providing, or at least be able to provide it in both places, so that we're not leaving a whole generation behind. I guess eventually everybody will have a phone and everybody will have an iPad, or everybody will know how to use an iPad and everybody will have internet. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's wishful, or hopefully not. I don't know.
Yeah, and regardless, Catholics have the track record of going into the peripheries and the rural communities and difficult areas for mission work. Well, we are that kind of mission work in the city.
It's true.
Jungle, right?
Yeah.
We need to be aware that let's take our digital savviness, let's take all the stuff we're learning from the YouTubers, the Catholic great people, apologists and all whatnot, and then stop for a second, just visit our neighbor, be attuned to what their situation is, because there will be a time when they have trouble with two-part authentication or
two-factor authorization. I know,
and they will have trouble with their technology at some point in their lives, right?
Yeah.
And they need a good friendly neighbor. And so that's the Catholic
To
Church.
help them,
That's
yeah.
our families and our kids. So let's hope we can do that. Next time we can maybe talk about, I don't know,
Absolutely.
we can talk about fraud or AI or other, go back to the modern stream. But today just wanted to stop and talk about the
That's
people
great.
that
I love
might
that.
be left behind.
And that's a great reminder that ultimately that's what it's all about. Even when we go to, let's say, Mass on Sunday, we are nourished with the word and the sacrament, but it's not so that we can keep it to ourselves so that I grow in my own faith. It's that so you go out and then go, make disciples of all nations, go help the poor, go help someone else.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately what it's about. Anyway, Danny, this has been fascinating. Definitely an interesting spin on what you usually bring to us, but a spin that's important. So thank you for bringing it up.
My pleasure. Thank you, Deacon, for
keep the
approaching
poor.
these topics.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Keep the poor with us because they will always be with us.
Amen.
Thank you. Danny Torchia, the managing director at Torchia Communications and Dialogue and Grace. You can find out more at dialogueandgrace.com. Coming up in our second half hour, we'll be speaking motherhood with our featured artist of the week, Hannah Schaefer. So don't go anywhere. Welcome to the Salt and Light Hour Part 2. I'm Deacon Pedro.
Sometimes I have a moment where I'm like, okay, well, like 4 years ago, me would have been like, how can you seriously be upset about that? What a gift.
That's our featured artist of the week, Hannah Schaefer, and Hannah's perspective on motherhood has changed because 4 years ago, she was struggling with infertility. And we're going to be hearing so much more about that very soon. But before that, let's listen to another song. Here's Hannah Schaefer with the title track of her new album, Motherhood.
Little fingers, tiny toes. Every day I watch you grow. Through your eyes I see a brand new world. Morning playtime, midday strolls. I'm savoring each milestone. You're teaching me what truly matters most. Lately I've been caught up in the what is motherhood. Oh, what a gift I'm lost and found in what is motherhood. Mommy's chin and daddy's nose, eyes like starlight, all aglow. It's like you know my world stops when you smile. That time bubbles, bedtime prayers. While you sleep, can't help but stare. Life before you simply can't compare. Lately I've been caught up in what is motherhood. Oh, what a gift I'm lost and found in what is motherhood. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I knew what love was until I held you for the first time. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I knew what love was until you gripped my finger tight. Lately I've been caught up in what a gift I'm lost and found in all of what is motherhood.
That was Hannah Schaefer with Motherhood from her new EP of the same name. We first met Hannah Schaefer about 5 years ago when she was a young 20-something. Now she's married with 2 children, and that experience has changed her. Her latest project is titled Motherhood. It's an EP of 5 tracks that shows that sacredness is found in the mess of daily life. I think a lot of mothers can relate. And so to find out more, I am so happy to be joined once again by Hannah Schaefer. Hannah, welcome back. You look so good.
Hi. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Well, to Kit, I think we spoke after your son was born, maybe.
Yes. I think we were just doing a little email back and forth,
Yeah.
checking in, see how are
Yeah,
you?
exactly. But now you have two children,
Yes.
a little boy
I
and a
have
little
two.
girl.
Yes,
Okay.
a little girl.
So
Mhm.
that's keeping you busy at home.
Always.
I love that. And tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that this might be recent. So on your website or your Instagram, somewhere it says motherhood, faith, and music. So
Yep.
it's not just music, it's not just faith and music, but now it's so clearly motherhood is a main focus for you now. Did motherhood change you as an artist or change you as a musician?
Oh, absolutely. I think motherhood changes everyone.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's undeniable. Like there's not really a choice in how the Lord changes you when you become a mother, when you're in
Okay,
charge of a new
so then let me
life.
ask you this. So it changes you obviously, but did it
Mhm.
reveal something about yourself that you already had?
Yeah, absolutely. My compassion, actually.
Ooh.
So I thought, most women are just naturally compassionate, but I think becoming a mother really enhanced my ability to just feel other people's emotions, experience kind of like with them. Like if my son falls and scrapes his knee and he's hurting, I'm just like, oh, let me hold you and
Okay.
let me make it better. Like
So
there's definitely a depth there that
you're not just talking about being more compassionate with your children, but even having children is making you
more
realize how compassionate you
compassionate.
were with everyone,
Just people. Yeah.
just people
Yep.
in general.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. So you're not obviously you're compassionate with your children. You don't want to just kill them all the time. Maybe sometimes.
We have hard days. There are definitely hard
You
days.
said
I
your
will not
son
say-
your son is almost 3, so that's the perfect age for I'm sure his
independence. Although I'm pretty sure my daughter is out doing it. She's 1.5, and she
yeah.
is
Well, little
right
girls,
now. Her favorite phrase is "Mommy, me do it, me do it." So
Yeah, well, little girls, they tend to develop a little faster than boys too. So, and she's got a good model. She sees her older brother and she wants to probably be like him
everything,
too, right?
everything.
I'm
Yep,
sure.
let's be just like him.
I'm
Mhm.
sure. Okay, so then this project, Motherhood, I always say it's an album, but it's an EP, 5 tracks.
Yes, 5. Mhm.
When did you start working on was this like immediate? Like you had a baby, I'm going to start writing songs about mothers. Is this something that
Oh,
happened?
man.
Like, how did it come to you?
I'm so happy that you asked me this question because,
Okay.
so I'll go back to my previous project before this one. So, just to reiterate for people who don't know my story, my husband and I walked through infertility for 4 years. I had an endometriosis diagnosis, and then the Lord healed me from that endometriosis, and we had our miracle baby. So, I mean, that's a little context of the project album that I did before this one that we're talking about today was called Faithful, and
Yep.
like I go through that journey of that season.
Yes, and
And
that's the last
so-
time we spoke. We spoke about that here, and you were very
Yes.
candid about speaking about your infertility.
I
Yeah.
finally was brave enough to just be open about it.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yes, and so literally, I had an endometriosis removal surgery that went really well, and then in 4 months after that, we had our first positive pregnancy test ever, and I was
Mhm.
just completely blown away.
Hmm.
And so, like, I was so shocked at it. I couldn't believe it. I was like in disbelief that the next morning, I wrote the song called "Hello There." That is
Hmm.
the first song on this project,
Mhm.
where it was the moment I finally, I essentially just embraced, like, oh my gosh, like this is real, this is happening. It's that's why it's the first song on the project. Is it's kind of like encompassing the disbelief, but the excitement and the nervousness and the excitement all over, like
Yeah,
over
yeah,
and
yeah.
over, and acknowledging the fact that we believe life begins at conception. So acknowledging, hello there, it's nice to meet you.
Mhm.
Even though I can't hold you yet, or like I don't know who you are, what you're gonna look like I believe you are alive. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of like the segue into the project. That's how it began, was literally the day after we got our first positive
Okay, wow.
pregnancy test in 2022. November 1st, I could tell you. Like November
Wow. Oh,
1st,
All
I could tell
Saints
you the
Day.
day.
Good.
Yeah, honestly, yes. Oh
All
my
Saints
gosh.
Day. Yeah, there you
Yes,
go.
there.
Ooh,
Wow.
okay.
Wow. I never put that together.
Okay, well,
That's
maybe there's
crazy.
another song there.
Always. There's always another song, Deacon. But so yeah, so that's where the project began. And then I just couldn't stop writing songs
Mhm.
about that season. I guess that's just the theme with me, is I'm just authentic. Like I don't
Mhm.
want I think for a long time in this industry, I've been in the industry for over 10 years, and I just for a long time really felt like I had to write a certain type of song that people would like, or like, I mean, I'm a very optimistic person, so I just need to encompass that in a song and just
Mhm.
keep putting that type of music out there. And
Mhm.
um and I mean, over the past 5 years, my life has looked so different, from when I was a young, teenager chasing the music dream, and like just wanting to show people that they're loved by God and that their identity is in him. And I became a wife. We walked through infertility. I became a mother, and I've had 2 children back to back. Like it's a
Mhm.
whole whirlwind of a life change, and
Mhm.
I've grown so much as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, and then obviously just as a Christian,
Yeah,
for sure.
I must say that musically, this album is different than
Yes.
some of your earlier stuff. There's still that kind of Hannah Schaefer feel, that or that strength or power that I think your music has, but it's a different. I don't even know how to describe it. So that I can see it not just in what you're singing about, but the music itself. Musically, it seems different. And I don't know where I saw this, but I think it's a quote: "Sacred moments in the middle of the mess." And I think that
Mhm.
especially mothers who might be listening, who have, 2 children under 3 years old, maybe like you're in the middle of a mess pretty much all the time. So
Yeah.
what does like a real, like a Tuesday morning look like for you if we're looking at sacred moments in the middle of a mess?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll just even tell you about this morning. So, my daughter wakes up first. So, and I'm an early bird, like,
Yeah.
and I can wake up to everything and anything. Like my husband just sleeps, so,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
so
That's
I
the
am always up.
blessings that men have. We can sleep.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. No, good. Yeah. So I woke up with my daughter this morning, and I always do. We have breakfast time. We have mommy daughter time, and I mean, this morning the kid, and then when my son wakes up, they're so cute. They just have this little ritual where they like hug each other and the good morning, and I'm just like,
Too
oh my gosh,
cute.
like, my heart just dies. But so this morning, like they were I gave them milk in a big kid cup, like
Mm-hmm.
one of those old fashioned metal cups. Like we have a couple of those,
Okay.
and they wanted straws, so I gave them straws, and then they learned how to blow bubbles in their milk, and so it's just like pouring all over the floor.
Of
And like,
course.
for me, I'm like, okay, like this is part of the mess. This is part of the sacred, as in I can let them be children, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, I might be either overstimulated or thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to clean up this mess, and I still have to get breakfast around. I still have to make sure that the laundry load is in. I still have that, like blah 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 blah. The list,
Right.
it goes on. It's never ending. But here they are, just like giggling in the kitchen together, blowing bubbles in their milk, and it's spilling on the floor. And like it made me understand like that there is such beauty in the innocence, and that like spilled milk is literally nothing to cry over.
Yeah, I know.
Literally.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and it was an opportunity to teach them that they can clean up after
Yeah,
themselves.
I was
And
gonna
instead,
say. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
I was like, here guys, like when you spill your milk, like you have to clean up. So they were learning life skills, but like automatically my first instinct was like, stop, like no, and I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go. It gave me an opportunity to choose, to not rage, or
Yeah,
to,
that's great.
I'm not perfect, moms. Like I'm
No,
not
but
saying
that's
this stuff
great.
every
Yeah.
time.
Maybe they can learn blowing bubbles is so much fun. Maybe they can learn how to blow bubbles without spilling the milk. So maybe mommy
Right.
can blow bubbles with them. Or let's blow bubbles outside.
Right. In the milk cup, they were like just blowing, like the milk was just bubbling. It was just
Oh,
anyhow.
that's so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. So it's good that you're able to see as much as you can the sacredness in those moments. And I'm sure that sometimes, I mean, like you said, we're not going to cry over spilled milk. Sometimes I'm sure it's more serious than spilled milk.
Oh yes.
But
that
that's
was
how
just
we learn.
one of those moments where
Yeah.
it's like, I could choose one way or the other. And that's what I mean, like sacredness in the mess, because it's always has something
there's always
to do
a
with
mess. We're speaking with our featured artist of the week, Hannah Schaefer, about motherhood. Being a mother is sometimes seen as either sentimental or even as a burden. I asked Hannah what she thought about the tension that we as parents have to hold between the beauty and the struggles.
It's definitely something I'm still navigating. I'm
Mhm.
still navigating it because, and I have a unique perspective as well, because becoming a parent was not easy for me.
Right.
So I do think that there is, just that perspective of like, sometimes I have a moment where I'm like, okay, well, like 4 years ago, me would have been like, how can you seriously be upset about that? What a gift, right? So it's like that perspective has
Right.
shift, like has changed me, but I also am learning to still embrace the hardship. Like it is hard. It is, one of the greatest vocations, like one of the greatest missions and responsibilities that we are ever gifted, to be in charge of an immortal soul or several. I mean, truly,
Yeah, no,
I'm
absolutely. Yeah.
still trying to grasp that tension, because I think I do a good job gaslighting myself, like trying to stay optimistic and like, no, this is all great. And even with my content recently, I am trying to, like, I think like even just more specifically last year, I think I was just so excited to share the celebration of motherhood that I kind of neglected the hard part. And I don't think that was as helpful for my audience as like what I'm trying to do now, which is being authentic in, there are hard moments, but here's how we like move forward and how we can accept the hardship, but also like understand we were designed to do hard things. We were made to do hard things, and that God gives us the strength to get through those hard things and to embrace it and grow in holiness.
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
like whatever hardship is in our way it's there to sanctify us in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Whether that is, like something as like the struggles as a wife or as a mother, navigating the tension.
Yeah, it's so true that it's the hard things, the hard moments that sanctify us, that make us better. And what better job than to be responsible for
Right.
two little souls and make sure that they get to heaven. I mean, what a terrifying
I know
responsibility.
It is.
I know.
Absolutely terrifying and a privilege, like utterly just.
Well,
just
as
such a
the
privilege.
father of a 30-year-old and a 26-year-old, I can say that
Wow.
there is, that
awesome.
they do grow up and turn into good holy adults. So I'm sure you'll
That's
be
my
fine.
dream.
Yeah. Now,
Gotta
but
share all your secrets.
well, Ooh. My real question is, where do you find time to write music? Like, is this, you said that it was pouring out of you. It's like, I'm sure that you were just like happy to have a moment where you could have a nap. Maybe you're getting better at that, but so are you able to, like, I don't know, are you staying up till 3 a.m, writing songs? Like, how does that even happen?
I mean, sometimes so I actually literally kind of just made a post about this. So, I have learned a couple things in becoming a mom, in pursuing dreams and having babies at the same time. Number one is go ahead and ask for help.
Yeah.
So like sometimes, like I'm very much, I want to do it by myself. Like I want to be in control. Like I want to, and I'm not great at asking for help. So that actually has been huge in this season when I need to track vocals, like being here in the studio. This is my home studio, but like be in here, finish vocals, send them off to my producer. Like that's how I'm doing it now, is like instead of traveling and going to
Right.
Nashville or traveling and because I'm based in Indiana. So like traveling and, just being away from my family, because I don't want to do that. It's not, it's just not what I want to do right now in this season. I make it work here from home. And, same with doing co-writes and, just being in the process of creating the music. It's all done here. And so, whereas when I was young, it looked more like I would go into the studio, all like outfit put together. I have got a coffee in my hands, like hang out all day with producers, like blah, blah, blah. Now it's more like
Not
I'm
anymore.
in yesterday's shirt with sweatpants on. I hope it's clean, like sitting in the bathroom while my kids are in the bathtub playing, splashing, and I'm writing a lyric on my notes.
Yeah.
Like that is the reality. So when do I find time? I've decided to start creating in the chaos. So not waiting to be creating music until it's like opportune where everything's quiet and I can just focus. If it's not a blocked out time window where the kids are being taken care of by somebody else, I'm going to be creating in the chaos.
Yeah.
So
well, that's good. And sometimes
helpful.
chaos is the best recipe, I think, for creativity in some ways. It's good that you're able to do that. And of course, even when you were starting 10 years ago, it wasn't possible to do co-writes remotely or, I mean, the fact that you can have a studio at home, that's great as well. And that you're showing your children that maybe they're even part of the music writing, and maybe as they get older, they'll be tinkering on the piano with you. Yeah,
he sings, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh, well, that's so much fun. Hannah, I'm so happy that you didn't stop writing. I know other singer-songwriters just kind of put a pause and they're like, I'm going to be a parent now. I'm not going to write. And so I'm so happy that you were able to. And I'm so happy that you told me about this because I assumed that you weren't writing. So such a great opportunity, I think, for your listeners and maybe new listeners that are going to maybe be encouraged by what you have to say about being a mother. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. This project is definitely different. And like you had mentioned sonically too, I really just wanted to, and I don't, whatever else is in the future, like it doesn't mean it's going to stay the same sonically, but for this project specifically, I wanted to give women a project that feels like the beauty that comes with motherhood, like the joy, because the hardships, I didn't want to write songs that encompass how hard it is. Like that doesn't inspire me. And every mother's, it's unavoidable. Like it comes. So I wanted to have a project that focused on the highlights of being a mom, from the moment that you find out that it's happening all the way through like them graduating and moving on and wishing them luck or like, praying for them in the world. So I hope that this can be a blessing to women out there.
Yeah, I think you've done that. So thank you so much. And thank you for telling us about it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deacon.
You can learn more about Hannah Schaefer at her website, hannahschaefermusic.com, and also follow her on your socials. Here now to take us out is Hannah Schaefer with Love Mama from her new EP, Motherhood.
The first time I heard you sing Mama, my heart skipped a beat, and I thought that I knew what love was till you looked up at me. Now each new day I love you even more. Another birthday, another mark on the door. You're growing up too fast, it's all happening in a flash. I do my best to raise you well, help you be strong and be yourself. One day I'll leave my arms and fly, spread your wings out wide. You were born to change the world, I know you're gonna love Mama. gonna feel it too. And I hope you know that I'm always gonna be there for you. From climbing trees and skinning your knees to graduation, chasing your dreams. You're going up too fast.
We're listening to Hannah Schaefer with Love Mama from her new EP, Motherhood, and that will take us to the end of the program. Remember to download the Salt and Light Plus app. That's the best way not to miss one single episode of our show. It's also where you can watch all Salt and Light Media programs, TV series, and documentaries on demand. Next week, we're going to be speaking with Father Henry Sands about his ministry to First Nations Catholics, and we'll be reconnecting with singer-songwriter Rebecca Rubillon, who's been homeschooling her 5 kids. So that'll be another conversation about motherhood. And Mark Matthews will be with us to speak about Pope Leo's new encyclical on artificial intelligence, Magnificat Humanitas. So that's all next week. Today, let's continue to pray for peace in the world, especially in the Middle East and Iran. Let's not forget to pray for Ukraine. Let's also pray for us to have the grace to learn to be better listeners and practice the virtue of holy curiosity. Let's pray for us to never forget the poor and those who are not as fortunate as we are. Let's pray for couples who struggle with infertility and for all the moms as they hold the beauty and the struggles of motherhood. Lastly, I pray for you, dear listeners. I hope that our time together has blessed you. Please pray for me, pray for each other, and take care of each other. I hope you have a blessed Pentecost weekend. May the Holy Spirit descend upon you and remain with you always. Thank you for being with us. I'm Deacon Pedro, and this has been the Salt and Light Hour.